Hey YouTube, how's everyone doing today? I'm gonna do a little... Well, I'm back, first off. I haven't been really keeping up my channel for a while, and I figure with this virus stuff going on now would be the perfect time to crank out some videos. And I can tell you what, I've been so gosh dang bored that I have dove into another project, which I think you've seen in the last video, but I've started digging into the 1938 case CC and have been kind of taking pieces off of it here and there. I've taken the oil pan off, I've taken the head off, the manifold off, the carburetor off, and now I figure I might as well do a video series on it since, well, now I have the time and I need to start updating my channel. So, and updates around here, not much other than the case CC, well, the case, the case. The Massey Harris 20 is no longer in its spot, and that's because I brought it up to a buddy's place, and we were going to redo valve seats and the whole entire valve train. Since you saw what it looked like in the last video, it was not very good. But anyway, let's see, got all new valves for it. Replacing all the valve seats as well, and the valve springs, and basically we're gonna try and make it run like new. So, and I'm still waiting on about 5 valve guides to show up. I've got everything else. Oh, and I forgot I got head gaskets. Well, I got a gasket kit with all the gaskets I need, and then and then I got piston rings too. So I'm just waiting to get those other valve guides, and then I'll be back up there working on that. And I'm planning on bringing you guys along to show you guys what all is going to be happening on that thing. But anyway, this is not a video for that. This is a video for this case CC here. And as you can see, I have a tarp over it, mainly because it's been getting so warm out here that we've been getting a lot of rain. I think in this past week we've gotten about 1.5 inches at least over, well, that was just a couple days ago now, and they're talking about a 20% chance of rain here in the afternoon, and tonight we're supposed to get even more rain. So I figure I'll just go ahead and give you a rundown on this tractor, and yeah, we'll go from there. Anyway, this is the 1938 case CC, as I stated before. I got this in September from a buddy of mine who actually referred me to a place. Well, actually, a buddy of mine just basically hooked me up with this tractor and the Massey Harris 20. But anyway, the story was, my friend told me that there was an old farmer who was wanting to get rid of stuff on his farm, a lot of his junk, because he was gonna retire from farming. Well, this case was sitting in a building for, he says, around 60 years or so, because the old man said he worked with this tractor when he was a young boy, so I'm assuming it was his father's before it was his. And then he said he has used this tractor in multiple applications. Let's see, cultivating, plowing, just generic farming. I mean, got all the, yeah, cultivating, plowing, seeding. I think he said he ran a thresher with it at one time, or they ran a grain thresher with it at one time. They said, or he said, that they used his tractor for basically everything on the farm at that point in time. And he even used it way up until his mid-farming, or I guess his middle ages. or mid-age, when, well, equipment got more advanced and needed more power, and then he stopped using this. But he basically told me that he used it until it died. He basically used it until it beat itself to death. And I can tell someone's been in this tractor more than one time. Especially assuming from, well, especially from the cylinder head, I know that because there's a new valve. And, well, there's a new valve. And the rest of them seem to be pretty dang worn. So, or worn in. So, yeah, I guess that's the story. Well, I guess, and a couple other things. I got this tractor about 9 miles, well, actually more like 13 miles south of me. I actually know the family who owned this tractor, and like I said, a buddy of mine hooked me up with it because they were getting some old cars from the old man's place. So I gotta give a huge shout out to him. Mark, thank you for hooking me up with these old machines. I'm very glad that you did, and we'll get them running back to new. But anyway, yeah, I guess that's the backstory on the CC. But anyway, my plan today is to go ahead and take that tarp off and show you everything I've done first off, and kind of the condition of the tractor and all that neat stuff. And I'm planning today on splitting the tractor apart and taking that motor and putting it on a motor mount so I can work on it in my garage instead of having to come out here with all my tools, or taking this tractor and putting it in the shed there, because that shed has a dirt floor, and since it's spring that dirt floor is always muddy. Really need to get that fixed. But anyway, that's the plan for today. I'm going to take that front off first, probably put it on a pallet back there that I have to set up yet, and then I'm going to take the motor out and wheel it up front. I'm going to be using the M over there for all this stuff here, or at least for the picking up part, because yeah, I don't have any jack, or I do have jack stands, or I have one jack stand, but I don't have anything to pull it apart with. So I figure I'm just gonna go ahead and use the M since I have it. So I guess that's kind of the plan for today, is getting it split apart and showing y'all what all I've already done to it. But yeah, so alright, well, I'll get back to you here pretty quick, because I've got to go do a couple things before I can start working on this and showing you guys what I've all done. So I'll get back to you as soon as I'm done with that stuff. Alright, everyone, I'm back out here at the the CC, and I've taken the tarp off, and this is what she looks like. Took the head off, manifold off. The top end does not look near as bad as the bottom. I've got these each filled up with transmission fluid. These two are anyway. This one and this one. That I just have PB Blaster on top. And this one I got out. So I know that one moves. I think I cracked that one and that one loose, but I'm not quite sure. But anyway, this tractor has steel pistons instead of aluminum, and the bore is 3 7/8 bore. So as far as that goes, I'm hoping I'll be able to I don't know if I'm going to be able to reuse these sleeves, mainly because of how bad of a rust ridge they're going to have from those piston rings down there. But I guess who knows, huh? Gotta clean them up and look. But yeah, top end don't look too bad. I think I stated before in my last video that someone started taking this apart sometime when it was sitting, and they just kind of abruptly stopped, and no one seems to know why. So When I got it, it was already in pieces, but the motor was not apart. And I think why they stopped was because the underside of this motor is rusty. And I mean rusty. Or it was a lot worse when the pan was on. There were rust chips in that pan that you could turn into soup if you poured water in it. It was bad, really bad. I mean, you can judge by that oil pump just how bad it is. And I've already taken off a couple oil lines, and yeah, I'm gonna have to clean up these crank journals here pretty good. At least they're still shiny, or somewhat shiny. But anyway, I took the magneto off. That's a rusty piece of work right now as well, and it's stuck tighter than tight could be. There's I don't know if I can get you a shot at the flywheel. Yeah, that's pretty rusty too. And there's oil chips. There's rust chips in there. And that clutch is rusty too. So I'm gonna have to pull the clutch, pull the flywheel, clean out the entire clutch housing, clean the entire clutch, clean the entire flywheel. I'm telling you, this whole thing is going to be coming apart. This whole motor is going to be coming apart. I'm going to be taking the crankshaft out, the camshaft out, or the camshaft's going to be coming out. Water pump's coming out. Yeah, I'm going to disassemble this motor until the last bolt. So, because it for sure needs it. It for sure needs it. But anyway, I've already cracked these nuts loose along the seam here. I've cracked them loose. I did that yesterday afternoon. And then there's a nut there, and then there's one on the other side for the front end. And then I'll be able to take this off. But the one thing that's stopping me from doing that is, first, I need to put jack stands up, and second, I need to take this steering arm bar off, or I need to take the steering arm off of this, since it's connecting here to there, so I can get this front off, and then I'll be able to go ahead and, well, I'll pull that off with the M. I'll pull this off with the M, this front section, and then I'll move the jack stand and stick it under here. At least that's what I did with the DC when I split it. So, and this is basically the same motor, just a little older. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some jack stands, and I'll get some wrenches, and I'll bring a pallet out here to put parts on, or at least this anyway. And then I'll have to move the H over there, and then I'll get the M from over there, and I'll get a log chain, and we'll start tearing this thing down. So trying to think what else to say before I go do stuff. I think that's about it. So I'm gonna go set up, I'll get some wrenches, get that pallet, and then I'll be right back with you. Alright everyone, I was able to get the rear half of the steering arm bar off of the steering pedestal. The front one I cannot get, mainly because someone smashed in the metal and basically jammed that screw in there. So looks like I'm going to be taking that part with, I'm going to be taking the arm bar with the front. So, and the tool I used to get that rear screw out, I used one of these. I call it an impact driver, mainly because it's along the same principle. You hit it as, well, you're holding on to it like this. You tap it here with a hammer, and then it'll jolt it a little bit. And this is really good for like little screws that won't budge and you don't want to strip out. Well, this works for the same application here. So if you don't, I don't know exactly what these are called, but I call it an impact driver. So, and they're really handy to have. So anyway, I think now it's time to go ahead and move some tractors around, and I'm gonna bring you guys with me. So I think we're gonna start out with the H, and then we'll move up to the M. And yes, I was using the chain link fence to hold you before, but anyway, here's a spacer in there that ball right there hooks into, and then here's the screw. Almost looks like a pipe thread screw, but anyway, there's that. So we're gonna go ahead and move the H here. Hasn't run in about a week or so, so this is gonna be a cold start, I guess. Turn the gas on here. And we'll hop on up. So you use a neutral switch. Oop. Starter button's a little funky. There we go. Again. Running a little rough and in need of a charge. Weird. Anyway. Running as good as she should. We'll move her anyway and check into that later. God, it sounds like a tube hopper. Leave her here for now. I don't know what the deal is. I wonder if she might be a little low on oil, so I'm going to go ahead and shut her off. Or a governor issue, I don't know, but something's not right there. And turn the gas back off. So one thing about this sediment bowl, I replaced the gasket up top, cleaned all the screens out, replaced the packing and the nut here. And every time the gas is on, it still leaks around that top seal. No matter what. It's always been a pain. But anyway, there's the rough running H that needs to be weird. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and start up the M. Gotta get the key out of my pocket though first. Alright. glove back on. Alright. Now let's do this. Oh, this is going to be tricky. I'm going to have my knee hold you. And I work two things at once. Whoa, she's a little cold today. There we go. Had to choke it a little bit. Back her up and take her around. Oh, that's the one thing about this thing, it's a bear to steer. Can't see now. I gotta go get a log chain. Forgot to do. So, if you'll bear with me for a moment, I'll be back. Alright, got my log chain. Just trying to get the camera adjusted here so it won't fall. That should do. But, anyway. It's only held on by two nuts or two bolts. One right here, and the other right here. And I'm going to wrap it, pick it up, BM, and then take those bolts out and put this on that pallet over there. That was short of interesting. Got it off though. It was kind of tough actually. Had to do all sorts of maneuvering and whatever. It's all done. But now it's just the motor. And that's about it. So I'm gonna go shut the camera off and get some water. It's warm out here now. I'll be right back. All right, YouTube, next step is definitely getting the motor off. So I'll go ahead and get to that. Gotta go get some wrenches. Alright, I think I'm ready to try pulling it. So we'll see how this goes. We're ready. Alright everybody, it's actually the next day. I didn't end up getting this motor out yesterday because of some unforeseen complications, I guess. Dealing with the clutch and the transmission input shaft. It seems that there's so much rust in this thing that the transmission input shaft is pretty much welded to the clutch pressure plate and throwout bearing assembly, so it's causing problems. I wasn't able to get the engine off because it would not move, so I'm gonna try and show you what we're dealing with here. Alright, that is the clutch housing in here, and the fork assembly, the throwout bearing assembly, is very, very rusty and will not move no matter what. So my plan is to try and I guess try and heat everything up. My thing is, though, I can't heat up this brass piece here. Alright, well, I can't heat up, it's so hard to hold this camera, this piece here, mainly because it's brass and I don't want to melt the thing. I mean, I know where I can get another one, but I still don't want to melt the thing. So I'm gonna primarily heat up this area, and I might do a little on here, but I'm just trying to keep things from breaking at this point. So I'll go ahead and get to that, and then I'll get back to you after I do that, because I won't film that part, mainly because it's pretty self-explanatory. Plus, it's going to take a lot of time, so I'll be back when I get that done. Well, YouTube, so far no luck. And I'm almost thinking I'm going to have to dig into the transmission here and take out the gear that this input shaft here is, the gear on the other side of this shaft here in the transmission, to get this damn thing to pull out, because I cannot get it to move, period. Heat and all. It's a real pain. So anyway, I have taken some pictures, and I'm going to post them in a couple places and see if I can figure this thing out, because I've never had this problem before. Then again, I haven't worked on many tractors, but I'm willing to learn, so this is part of it. So I guess there's not much more to talk about other than trying to figure this stuff out, or I'll try and figure this stuff out. I'll post it a couple places and see what people say and heed their suggestions and see where that gets me. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, and I'll update you as I keep going along with this project, because as far as I know, no one has a tutorial on taking apart a KCC on YouTube, so I'm hoping to help out a couple people and put one up so people can look and see how stuff takes apart or comes apart and all that stuff. So without further ado, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching me pull or try and pull this motor off, and we'll see you in the next video.